Picture your friend group. There's always one person everyone quietly assumes is doing the best. Nicest car, newest phone, always first to book the trip. And there's usually one person everyone assumes is struggling. Older car, same jacket every winter, never posts anything. Here's the uncomfortable question. What if you have that completely backwards? Not as a feel-good cliche, as a testable fact about your own life. Because in a minute, I'm going to give you 3 questions. 3 questions that will tell you, right now, which side of that line you're actually on. Not who looks richer, who actually is. Let's start. We're all trained to read wealth the same way, through objects. A car, a bag, a zip code. But objects tell you what someone spent, not what they kept. And almost nobody teaches you the difference because the difference is invisible by design. The moment money turns into a thing you can see, it has already left the account where it could have grown. So here's what this video actually is. Not another rich people are secretly broke lecture. A 3-question test you can run on your own life in the next 5 minutes, and an honest look at what this boring wealth path actually costs you, because most videos on this topic conveniently leave that part out. Chapter 1. What you're really looking at. Claim. The visible version of money and the real version of money are almost never the same thing. Take 2 coworkers earning the same salary. One finances a new car, and as of Q1 2026, the average new vehicle loan payment in the U.S. is $770 a month, according to Experian's State of the Automotive Finance Market Report. The other drives something older and puts that same $770 into a retirement account instead. 5 years later, one of them has a car worth less than when they bought it. The other has an account that's been quietly compounding the entire time. Nothing dramatic happened. That's the whole point. The gap built itself while nobody was watching. Implication: every visible upgrade is a decision to stop that compounding early. Curiosity bridge. So if objects lie, what actually tells the truth? That's question 1. Question 1, how long do you actually last? Here's the first question to ask yourself, honestly. If your income stopped tomorrow, how many months could you cover your life without borrowing $1? This is the most honest wealth indicator that exists because it has nothing to do with how much you make and everything to do with how much you've kept. According to the Federal Reserve's 2025 report on the economic well-being of U.S. households, only 63% of adults say they could cover a $400 emergency expense using cash, or its equivalent, meaning more than a third of adults would have to borrow, sell something, or simply couldn't cover it at all. That number has barely moved in years. It has nothing to do with income bracket and everything to do with whether the habit of keeping money was ever built. Think about 2 people with the same job title. One has 3 months covered, the other has none, but drives the nicer car. If both lost their job on the same Monday, only one of them is still calm by Thursday. The other is already looking at their credit card limit. Same income, completely different reality. And you'd never know it by looking at either of them at the office. That's question 1, answered. Now the second question is less about safety and more about honesty. Question 2, do you know your number? Most people can tell you what car they want next. Almost nobody can tell you the exact number that would let them stop worrying about money entirely. Here's a simple version you can actually calculate tonight. Take your essential annual expenses and divide by 4%. That comes from the famous 4% rule, the idea that a retiree could withdraw 4% of their portfolio a year and not run out of money. But here's the honest update almost nobody mentions. Morningstar's own 2026 retirement research now puts the safer starting withdrawal rate closer to 3.9%, not 4%, meaning the real number you need may be slightly bigger than the old rule of thumb suggests. Use 4% as your quick gut check tonight. Use something closer to 25 to 26 times your expenses if you want to be conservative. You don't need to hit that number to benefit from knowing it. The moment you have an actual figure, spending stops being emotional and starts being a comparison against a real target. People without a number spend based on how they feel that day. People with a number spend based on whether it moves them closer or further from it. Question 3. Are you spending to be seen or to feel safe? This is the question that actually separates the two groups from the hook. Not income, not net worth. Motive. Every purchase falls into one of two categories. Things bought because you want people to notice, and things bought because they genuinely improve your life whether anyone notices or not. Neither category is wrong on its own. The problem is when the first one quietly takes over every raise you ever get, a trap researchers call lifestyle creep, where spending rises to match income almost automatically, leaving your actual financial position unchanged no matter how much you earn. It's why a Lending Club survey found that 49% of people earning over $100,000 a year were still living paycheck to paycheck, a six-figure income with none of the six-figure security. If you can't answer honestly why you bought your last big purchase, that's not a moral failure. It's just data. Data you can use. The part nobody says out loud. Here's where I'll disagree with almost every other video on this topic, including plenty of the ones you've probably already watched. Boring wealth isn't free of cost. It has a real one. Saying no to visible upgrades for years can mean awkward moments with family who don't understand why you're not living better, despite doing well. It can mean feeling out of place around peers who spend freely. And taken too far, it turns into a different trap. People so focused on the number that they never actually spend on the life the number was supposed to buy. Former hedge fund manager Bill Perkins built an entire book around exactly this risk, called Die with Zero. His argument is that optimizing purely for a growing future balance can quietly cost you years of the actual present, and that the goal should be spending down your money deliberately so you don't die with the maximum number and the minimum number of memories. The goal was never to be poor on purpose. It was to be intentional. Those are not the same thing, and confusing them is its own kind of trap. So here's the test. All three questions again. How long do you actually last without income? Do you know your real number? And when you spend, are you buying attention or peace of mind? Most people can answer maybe one of those honestly. If you can answer all three, you're probably closer to the quiet wealth side of this than you think, regardless of what your car or your closet says. Here's the one thing worth sitting with. The version of you that people assume is doing the best and the version that actually is might be two different people entirely. And the only way to know which one you are is to stop looking at other people's lives and start running this test on your own. If this test told you something you didn't expect, I want to know which question hit hardest. Drop it in the comments. And if you're ready to actually calculate your real number instead of guessing at it, that's exactly what the next video walks through, step by step.